Good morning. My name is Dan Leaskar. I'm chairman with EON Reality, and today we will talk about how augmented and virtual reality can help you, your company specifically, with respect to productivity increase and reducing costs. But first, let's spend just a few seconds on EON. So EON is today the global leader in augmented and virtual reality, focusing in knowledge transfer. We work with governments, more than 70 locations around the world. We work with more than 500 academic institutions. And we obviously work with a lot of blue chip customers, including Exxon, GSK, Honeywell, GE, Mercedes, China Merchant Group, and many others. So today you will learn a little bit about why these companies are using virtual and augmented reality, what exactly they are doing with it, and how they derive significant return on investment. For you that are not familiar with virtual and augmented reality, let me make some definitions first. Virtual reality is an environment where you're totally engulfed or encapsulated, so you have typically a headset or you're in a room surrounded by screen, and you don't see reality, you are in a synthetic environment. That's to my left. On the right-hand side, you see augmented reality. That's where you superimpose information in your real world, in your living room, etc. And you provide contextual knowledge when you need it, as you need it, in the context that you have based on your skills. EON covers both virtual reality and augmented reality. In fact, we also cover mixed reality and mobile. So as I already mentioned, we have specific strategies for various sectors. And today I'm going to focus on enterprise, but we do work with governments on an initiative we call Human 2.0, which is aiming at enhancing humans, blending man and machine with the use of virtual and augmented reality. We do work also with academia on the next transformational way of learning called Classroom 3.0. And there's a strong link between that and Industry 4.0. Because the new jobs that companies like yourselves require, that they are not necessarily teaching that in schools. So there's the centers that we establish around the world aim at creating that link. So let's talk about problems. I'm an engineer, so I like problems because if you can find a problem, you'll solve it eventually. One of the key issues with technologies today is the disruption that kills on a global scale millions and millions of jobs, but also is the one that creates most of the new jobs. So it's a paradox. On one side it kills, on the other side it creates. And we can start to see that in our statistic here in the US. This is manufacturing jobs openings, and you can see the blue line, those are the new jobs, and you can see the orange, that's how many are hired. So there's a gap between the need and the access to skilled workers. And this lack of skills is increasing, actually. It is, according to McKinsey, this problem will just grow. So by 2030, which is less than 120 months away, half of the workers in Japan risk to be displaced if they are not retrained, and a third of them in the US. And if we look at what kind of jobs are requested, it's not manual and routine jobs. It's cognitive and non-routine. So management, healthcare practitioners, technical people, electrician, mechanical engineering, but also creatives, arts, etc. So there's two scenarios, a little simplistic, but that I see and we see together with our partners for humanity. One is the negative scenario, that AI-empowered machine increasingly take over, and by 2050 we have a vast amount of people, a class that might emerge that are displaced. That's not a good scenario. In fact, I don't believe in that scenario. A recent example from Elon Musk, where he tried for the Model 3 factory to replace robots at Tesla factory, basically ended up in disaster. So he had to bring back the humans and realize that humans are underrated. So I believe in a positive scenario, and I think most of our partners, no, all of our partners do the same. We call it Human 2.0 or enhanced humans. What does that mean practically? I would blending man and machine in a symbiotic partnership, democratizing access to knowledge, and rather than be subjugated by machines, standing on shoulders of giants, so to speak. And to a large extent, you are already today human 1.3. If you look, the problem to achieve this boils down to increasing the speed of communication between man and machine. So today, when I say you are human 1.3, what I mean is that you have a device, probably within a couple of inches of your hands or in your pockets, a mobile device. The problem is that the interaction modality is very slow. You interact at speed of thumb. And to achieve this vision of enhanced human, we have to do it much closer, much faster. There are initiatives like, for example, neural lace, which aim at sticking little wires into your head. I personally believe that even if it's possible, that will take more than 2 decades. By then, it's too late. So humanity needs a solution today. Companies like yourself need a solution today. And that's what we have been focusing, and that's what we'll talk about today, how we create this solution. And just to put it in context, the problem is pretty big. There's 2.5 billion workers today that will benefit from this. Of the 3 billion workers, only 500 million have any type of ITC in their daily work. Most of them have paper and pen. So how do we do it? It's about better learning, training, and in the end, performing for your company. So let's go through that step by step. So if we look at learning first. So our approach to learning has been to do something easy, and you'll hear this mantra throughout the day. We have created a platform that enables you to both create and experience virtual reality, augmented reality, as well as mobile, and do it in a way that is very easy to create. And it works not only a headset, it works on any device, an Android device, an iPad, and you can see the mobile, and there you can see the augmented reality environment. And it should be easier than PowerPoint. And we also connected with a library, world's largest library for learning, more than 870,000 assets. Plus we can import 120 formats from whatever format you use in your company. And you see the user interface there. It's easier than PowerPoint. Within 1 hour, we can teach a person that doesn't know what virtual reality is how to create their own content. So do it yourself. So once we learn, then it's a matter of training. So what you see here is our virtual trainer, and this enables you to train and practice on everything from a McDonald's kitchen to a nuclear power plant. It's very much like a simulator. Today pilots use simulators to do emergency landings in water. The difference is that it's much broader, and you can do it also remotely. So I can be in Glasgow and you are in Los Angeles, and we can actually not only train, but every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you, meaning that the system can record what you're doing, the procedure, and also we can certify you for that task in much deeper and granular way than you could ever do with a paper test. So it's and the assets that you see here are the assets that were created in the previous in the platform creator that I showed you. Here we're looking at medical devices. This is a computer repair operation, but we have also many different examples. So now once you learned and then you train, it's a matter for you to go and perform, to practice what you learned and trained. And for that, to help you in that process, we have something we call AR Assist, Augmented Reality Assist.
AR Assist helps your workforce perform better. This cross-platform augmented reality solution supports workers with real-time contextual data for their day-to-day tasks. Working across platforms, AR Assist supports Microsoft HoloLens and mobile devices using ARKit and AR Core. In this example, a facility...
We actually work today with more or less everybody. Magic Leap is one of our implementations, but we work with all AR devices, key ones, I should say. So what are we doing here? The idea is that you can both use this to inspect things and identify things that are then reported to the headquarters. But once, and they appear like little yellow stickers saying that this cable is broken, and this is the inspector that does that. But also point out things that they should be maintained, and then the manager decides what procedures, what action to take, and later on he sends the actual repairman to that location. Let's see, here's the guy.
Freeing up his hands to perform the work. Opening the app gives him the contextual...
So now, using augmented reality, you can either use glasses, to have your hands free, but you can also, if you want, use just a tablet and still show you superimposed information, where to go, what to do. It also reviews what you've done, so it logs that, and it helps with the quality assurance. So it's a continuum of the learning, training, and performing. And we see this type of environment. We know there's a lot of benefits on productivity. And the way we see most of our customers using it is not just one, but starting with learning, progressing to training, and eventually landing on performing. So let's talk about concrete cases. These are some of our EON's industry customers today. You can see they range from aerospace to energy, oil and gas, healthcare, and many, many others. Why do they do it? So first, with respect to training, we've seen a reduction, and this is not our slide, this is actually a slide from one of our customers. They had a 63% reduction on average of their training cost. In some cases for service technician using AR, as much as 92%. So it's significant. If you talk about a company that has a budget of $250 million for training, this can be a huge impact. So we essentially talk with a CFO instead of talking with a training manager. The other big benefit is the productivity increase. According to a study that Harvard Business Review conducted, they were able to identify improving in performance of work of 34% at the first time usage. So and Boeing has also seen that using augmented reality for technician has increased productivity by 40% and also reduced wiring for production wiring. So there, if you're interested in this, we can contact us. There's a lot. We have a big study from PwC, from Goldman Sachs, and all of the above. But it's indisputable that you get very significant increases in productivity. So now let's move on to some specific use cases. I'll start with Exxon. Exxon is someone we worked for more than 10 years, and they are using it for many things, but one of the key things is how to train in low probability, high consequence scenario. When accidents happen, how to prevent, how you react in this context. That's a concrete example. Another example is using augmented reality for logistics. This is Changi Airport, and they are using our solution, AR Assist, to get straight away information about packaging, to also guide them into their work, including how to load optimally the aircraft. That's a quite tricky procedure that you have to learn, and the augmented reality guides you through that process. Another interesting thing is when things happen, the headquarters can see what I see. So the people that in the control room can see through the user's eyes and also guide him to the whole process if something it goes not as planned. So these are some examples, but they extend to many others. If you stay at the airports, We also have solutions, for example, to train firefighters, and the airport in this case can directly and interactively create a scenario in a very easy way just by selecting pieces, dragging, dropping. So it's a very intuitive. It doesn't require any programming whatsoever. It can also control the time of day, where the fire is, if it's raining, foggy, all these things. And once you set up the scenario, then it's very easy to actually select which vehicle the firefighter has, and he or she has to actually conduct that operation and put down the fire. But it's not limited to that. It's also a lot of activities around maintenance, repair, operation of the equipment. As you know, the actual usage in situations is very seldom, but there's a lot of maintenance and activities that you have to perform with this equipment. Third example here, or fourth, is coming from Denso and SPS Transit. This is a bus. SPS Transit is a bus company in Singapore, and here workers are getting air assist support to do maintenance, repair, operation procedures. So standard operation procedures that you have to conduct with this engine have been recorded using Creator, and then they've trained on this, and now they can use it in real life by practicing for those specific standard operation procedures. And then there's many more. So if you extend this to technical vocational training, we work with industries. In this case is companies that work with technical vocational schools to teach welding. And here you have the actual welding equipment, and you can see the workers here. So his has to follow a certain procedure. If he misses some steps, that will be noted in the system. So he gets assessment also in the end of this. So in essence, a certification. And that can go very detailed. Even, for example, you'll see in a second that he starts welding, the width, the quality of the weld that he's producing, etc. So it can go quite in detail. And obviously, you don't have to have access to all the equipment to do this. It's all virtual. And to give you one more example here, this is a whole setting in the company with all the forms. So I'm talking about the certification assessment that you could never do. The closest you can come to this is an aircraft simulator. And I used to, for 10 years of my life, I used to build those simulators, and it cost, up to $50 million one. Now with virtual reality, we can do simulators for everything that you could think of using this technology. And the tools are there, the correct tools, the sequence, and also the assessment of what you're doing. You can also have a full set of all your products. Let's say you're a conglomerate and you have everything from offshore to windmills to etc. So all these products that you sell can be accessible, both actually as a way to help your sales, assist your sales in the field, so they can see how the product works, and you can do that on a mobile device, but also, of course, to train, and also support maintenance, repair, operation. So a very vast range of different type of products. This is part of our 870,000 assets library, but we, as I said earlier, can import from CAD almost any format you have. And this brings me to the platform. So what's unique about EON versus other solutions that you can see out there? Most people, when they think about virtual and augmented reality, they think about the top of the iceberg. But what they don't realize is, in order to do what I've just shown you, you have to do essentially 3 steps. You somehow need to get access to the data, and today that resides in 120 different formats, from CAD like PTC, Autodesk, Siemens, Dassault system, to MRI data, to GIS data, to Revit for building intelligence management, to 360 data, sometimes scan data. And that's difficult to import, but that's EON's. What EON has done is partner with SAP and have an import that covers all these type of formats. Once you bring the data in, you need to bring it to life. So you saw the welding, that when you push the button, the device starts to weld. So typically that you have to program. Now, what EON has done is, for a vast amount of this type of training scenarios or augmented reality scenarios, we created a platform, and I'll show you in a second, where people that don't know how to program at all can do it easy. So the whole key is to make it easy, effortless to do it. And once you've done it, you need to publish it. You saw that a lot of examples were some of them were on headsets, some of them were on screens, some of them were on normal tablets. So EON's approach is agnostic. We support more or less all type of devices, at least the major ones, more than 30. So once you create the content once, you can use it many times in different contexts. So that, if you bring out that all together, you get our platform. So the ability to import data, the ability to generate yourself the content with people that are not programmers, and to publish that on almost anything. But underneath that, you also have track your user, how they use it, assessment, how the content, because many times you have very sensitive content that may not be exposed, could be even highly confidential content. We work with, for example, US Airforce, and they have very strict requirements on how we handle that content. And also to integrate this perhaps with existing systems that you have. So that's what we define as the interconnected platform. And underneath that, of course, we support a range of other things. For example, multi-users. So if you have 6-7 users that want to collaborate in the same environment, in that offshore platform, they can jointly. It is cloud-based, although you can save the content also on your devices. Allows you to analyze and assess. LMS connection, of course. IoT. So we can connect with different Internet of Things sensors, geo-positioning systems, especially for air assist. AI, we use AI for example image recognition, but also for assessment. And underneath, of course, very secure environment. And that allows you to create, to train, and to perform. So at this point, I would like to give you a quick demo. In interest of your time, I've captured a quick video of the platform, and the platform has evolved, and we have just recently have a new release.
Welcome again to the AVR platform. Today, we're going to take a sneak peek at our next major release with some new features, a fresh look, and a streamlined user experience. Our focus for this release is easy, effortless, affordable, self-service, and interconnected. Let's go ahead and sign into the platform and get started. Welcome to our library. We can now filter lessons by 3D and 360. For teachers and trainers, creating lessons is easier than ever. Let's start with a 3D one. Educators can choose to browse or import 3D content to get started. Let's first browse. With this release, we have further integrated CG Trader's massive 3D library for even more options when creating lessons. Let's go back though and choose to import our own 3D content. With this release, the AVR platform now supports AutoCAD. Let's import this CAD file to create a new lesson.
So it's not only AutoCAD, we support 120 formats, but you saw them.
It's now been
there.
converted, and I've added some contextual content. Let's jump into virtual reality and explore this lesson we just created. This release introduces major updates to Virtual Trainer, including this handy first-time user experience walkthrough for first-timers. We can now access all the lesson elements in VR, like voiceover narration and this YouTube video I added. This allows students and trainees to immersively interact with the entire library of 3D lessons created by educators and trainers on the mobile app or PC. Another major update is the 360 module. Educators can now use 360 media to create immersive lessons that are more environmental based. Again, we can choose to browse or import. Let's import this 360 image. We can add contextual information, videos, voiceover narration, and quizzes to complete our lesson. Students and trainees can now learn using 360 lessons either on PC or on a mobile device, creating a truly experiential learning session. Finally, this release also brings major updates to our mobile app, including all these new features and the improved user experience, giving both students and educators easy access to the AVR platform.
Yeah, so the key here, and this is very important because the statistics shows that almost every company, major company on earth today has tried virtual and augmented reality, but the vast majority of them never proceed beyond a pilot. Why? And I think the problem is that they discover very quickly that it's very difficult to create content using game engines. It requires people that program, which are not the profile of the normal users that typically develop maintenance, repair, operation, or training or sales content. They are familiar with PowerPoint or Adobe. So that's a problem. The other thing is that it's quite expensive and time consuming to do it. And that's what the platform addresses. It is, with the platform, it is actually effortless, you saw, to create it. It is affordable. We charge as little as $42 per user a month to roll this out. It is self-service. So we have a first-time user experience if you never tried it. So you can actually jump into this fairly easy. And it's interconnected. So the outcome of what you do can be used in virtual reality, augmented reality, or mobile. So to dissect a little bit more, the whole idea is to how to create interaction simplified. How do I do it intuitively? How do I do it so it's readily available anytime, anywhere? With respect to affordable, the fact that you don't have to make major investments. We do recommend, of course, that our partners or customers buy headsets, and we help with that. But you can even start with existing tablet and mobile devices. We have intentionally lowered the opportunity cost by both with respect to development, which typically is the highest cost, but also with respect to packages, so we can create packages that suits you. Self-service, you can either import all these formats that you see here, it's about 120 of them, or you can use pre-existing formats from the library. I was the other day in a medical environment with the hospitals, and they have about 10,000 devices, and we did a little competition and test to see if we have their devices, whether there was defibrillators or MRI devices, and we had them all. So that is also a way when you don't have access to data, CAD data. Yeah, so that's self-service. And interconnected, a modal mix, so you can see that within EON you have not only the ability to create, train, learn, train, perform, but you also have the freedom to do that in virtual reality, augmented reality, on a mobile environment. So we talked quite a lot about the end-to-end solution. We also have something very unique. So sometimes when I have to explain to my neighbors what we do, I say that we have a platform, and I say it's like YouTube for VR, because you can experience existing created content without doing anything, but you can also upload and create your own. But we also have something that I would call a Netflix for VR in virtual and augmented reality for knowledge transfer. And we have a vault, and this is a catalog, a vast catalog of virtual and augmented reality applications in many areas. And here we have complete applications that address specific needs and also are certified by experts. So we can tap into both. And the value of the vault could be that you can start immediately with something and have no development cost. So in essence, it is an end-to-end solution. We have the platform in the bottom, which gives you the freedom to create anything. We have the vault with pre-existing content that allows you to start immediately. And in the middle, we also have like a marketplace, like an eBay. And this allows partners that want to, either they do it within their group, but to market and develop applications and even receive a passive income. So there's a lot of things here that we don't have time for, but I want to highlight one more thing, which I think is interesting for you. which has to do with this.
You can take lesson creation a step further than ever before with the new interaction recording feature. While recording your voiceover for a lesson, you can now also record your movements and interactions within the app itself, allowing for more precision when explaining specific details of any object.
So, the proper order for disassembling a V-twin engine is like this. You want to start with the camshaft before moving on. So, the proper order for disassembling a V-twin engine...
So this is not a video, this is actually a live VR experience.
This new feature is incredibly powerful for providing step-by-step instructions in their proper order. Also new to Creator AVR, you can forget being limited to one-on-one sessions. With the new collaboration feature, you can now allow others to learn with you through Creator AVR's lessons. With a simple email invitation, 2 or more students or trainees can experience the same lesson at the same time, making it ideal both for group studying as well as instructors looking to teach more efficiently. Lastly, AR Assist brings powerful new features to help your workforce perform better, including improved HoloLens support and Vuforia's model targeting feature, which allows digital twins to overlay with their physical counterparts in real time. Now, your AR Assist routines and instructions can be anchored onto the real-world subject matter itself and viewed through a mobile device or AR headset, opening up new possibilities for vocational training and on-site support. With these new features, the entire AVR platform has never been more accessible or efficient.
Yeah, so the last example we had there is quite interesting because it allows you to go from the creation process that I showed you all the way to the device itself. So I can go to a device and I know something is wrong, but I don't know the steps. So I can get the steps on the physical machine superimposed. So first push this button and it shows me which button to push. Then open this cabinet and it shows me which cabinet. So it's very, very hands-on and very tangible. So obviously, if we met, let's say 5-10 years ago, we would do, and you wanted us to do a project for you like we started with, for example, Exxon, we had to use game engines, and we had even our own game engine to create everything from scratch. So import a CAD model. All this functionality was basically in a very, I would say, primitive way, but it requires a lot of knowledge how the engine. It requires knowledge in scripting, programming, and you have to do this by hand. It's a little bit like how it was to upload a YouTube video before YouTube existed, or MP3 before you had an iPod. Quite difficult. With a platform, all that process has been simplified. So 80% of the heavy lifting, or 90%, is done by the platform. And that allows us to do it much more cost efficient, faster, and obviously even better. Now, at this point, typically I get a question, okay, we understand, but how do you guys fit in the bigger landscape of augmented virtual reality? And I would categorize this in 3 layers. So on top you have the hardware platform providers, and major ones at the moment is HTC, Magic Leap, Microsoft, Oculus, Google is also involved in this, the predominant Magic Leap. So these are our partners. In fact, for example, Magic Leap has adopted our platform now for knowledge transfer, and it's something that they use. But likewise, we do the same for Microsoft, for Oculus. So we are HTC, totally agnostic. On the bottom, you have the game engine. Those are the very, how should I say, complex engines that require people to know scripting, which perhaps 0.1% of our customers know how to do. We work with them also. We support all the engines, Unity, Unreal, but our creation approach is on much higher levels, so to speak, much easier. And then on the left side here in the middle, we have the B2C players, the gaming, consumer, and this is a space we don't compete in. We are solely focused on enterprise and knowledge transfer, education, and that's where we dominate that space. We are probably 10-20 times bigger than number 2, and that's where we focus. Now about global strategy, a little bit about that. We work today we create centers around the world. and these centers aim to support our customers in different locations, disseminate the platform, help locally in the local language with content support, but also provide access to global marketplace. And then obviously, if you want to start, how would you start? Oftentimes what I advise new corporations to do is to think big, start small, and scale in a way that's profitable for you. And EON, to do so, has designed special packages. So we have packages, and for each one, the standard for our platform is $42 per user per month for creator, and the same for virtual trainer and AR assist. We typically want to do a pilot. A pilot can range with a setup, etc., from I'd say $50,000 to maybe $200,000 depending on your scope. We have packages that include also all the things you need. So, for example, we have a package, industry kit, that starts with up to 100 users, with all the licenses, with access to even nowadays we've gone markerless, but if you need markers, we have them included. We also have 100 VR headsets, Humido, that you can connect to your mobile device. We have a Samsung 360 camera with a tripod, so you can learn how to do it. We include in this a needs assessment, so we clearly understand your need. You get free access to the free library items, which we have quite a lot, so you don't have to build all that. We teach you, we certify your workers to conduct this on a level 1 and level 2. Level 1 first, I would say, is included, and of course all the support. So for us, this is a pilot, and we are very keen to make sure that as a part of this pilot, you become a power user. And then we can go to large rollouts, right? So typically here's unlimited access to the vault. Now you have up to 1,200 trainees. It's also included up to 3 to 5 years. So this is a bigger package. So in the end, what would be the benefit by engaging in such applications with us? I would say, first of all, generally speaking, entering the virtual and augmented reality arena, you're gonna increase your productivity, you're gonna decrease your training cost, you're gonna most likely significantly lower your maintenance repair operation cost. You can also make your product more attractive and stand out at whether it's a trade show or a salesperson that's out in the field. You can also recruit new talent because you're digitalizing your products, and the youth of today, they are looking for industries where they are future-oriented, and this is definitely a future-oriented approach. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. If you are interested to learn more, feel free to contact us, reach out on our website anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have additional things, or one of our partners. Look also on the website. You'll see we are present in many locations around the globe. Thank you so much for your attention, and looking forward to get in touch.